Hey folks, Mr. Dell here. We are looking at gaining information from a graph and answering some questions based on interpreting the data that is on this graph. So this is a CPM question, and it's from course 3, and this is section 4.1.4, number 4-38. So it says, look at the graph at the right, that graph. What statements can you make about the tile pattern the graph represents? So what can we see? There's a couple things we can look for on this pattern, right? We see this is what's represented here is our X axis is our figure number. So figure 1, figure 2, figure 3, and then our Y axis is number of tiles. So with that, I can actually create maybe even a table. Maybe that's one of the statements that I will create. I'll create a table. So my X and my Y table based on the graph that I'm given here. So I can see that at figure 0, right? 0 being the initial is right here. That's our first point, and that looks like it's 0, 7. So at figure number 0, I have 7 tiles, right? X represents the figure number, Y represents the number of tiles. At figure 1, I can move up and I see that's at right here, which is 9. At figure 2, I'm right in between 10 and 11, 10 and 12, so it's 11. So figure 2 is 11. Figure 3 is right here in the middle between 12 and 14, which is 13. And figure 4, let's see, figure 4 is right here, which again looks like between the 14 and the 16. So figure 4 is at 15. And I don't think I've got figure 5 listed as far as where that point is, but it looks like it would be right above 16, which would be 17. So we can also put that there. So now let's answer some questions. Actually, one of the statements I can make too is it's growing, right? Because it's uphill, I can see that the figures, here's a statement, are growing in size, right? Because it's getting more and more tiles as we get larger into figure numbers. So let's answer these questions. How many tiles are in figure 0? Well, figure 0, I can look at my table and again at the graph, figure 0 here, where X is 0, Y is 7. So there's 7 tiles. Because the Y represents the number of tiles. That's what the Y represents. How many in figure 1? Well, figure 1, we did our table. So figure 1 is right there at 9. 9 tiles. So what is the pattern of growth? Well, what is the pattern of growth? Every figure number, what do you notice it's doing? It's increasing by what? By 2. So every time it's increasing by 2. So the pattern of growth is 2 tiles per figure, right? So 2 tiles, it's growing positive 2 tiles per figure. So what's the rule? Well, now this is where at this point we're seeing this rule within the pattern, right? The connection of the graph or the pattern to the rule. And this is where now we know that Y, my number of tiles, is always equal to the pattern of growth, right? Or also known as the growth rate, times, that's the coefficient, times the X, the figure number, plus the number of tiles in figure 0, right? The initial value. So this right here is that rule. The rule, you can take that growth rate, multiply it by X, and then add to that whatever the number of tiles are in figure 0. So if we look, what is my growth rate? My growth rate, my pattern of growth is 2 tiles, positive 2 tiles per figure. So I know it's going to be Y is equal to 2 times X. So we say 2X, and then number of tiles in figure 0. We figured that out up here or on the table or even on the graph. Again, we can look again. Figure 0, that initial value, that Y-intercept is 7. So that we'd say plus 7. So that is the rule from what we have learned about the connection of the graph, the table, and the growth of the pattern. Okay, there we go.